It's YouTube, babies. So last week, since I was by myself, I had texted you. I was like, "Hey, who do you think's gonna win?" And then I forgot to mention it. So who do you think's gonna win?
Well, I'm gonna say Pacers. Um, we're sitting 1-1 right now, so not too crazy a call one way or the other, I don't think.
Yeah, I'm the Hearts. Like I've said this about every time except for the Bucks. I was like confident that, no offense, that they'd beat the Bucks, but every other team, I'm like, the heart says Pacers, but the brain says OKC in six.
Well, it's
But
like I
I'm hoping,
texted you. I think the NBA will want the Thunder to win, but
yeah. I mean, it's showing. Like, I would love to see Caruso and Lou Dort guard Shea just once. Because the stuff they get away with, they wouldn't get away with guarding Shea.
mhm.
So, you know. But yeah, I mean, it's been good. It's been a good final so far. I'll say that.
Yeah, I watched last night's game. That was
That
kind
one,
of a blowout.
yeah, it wasn't great. But it's also at the same time with the Pacers, I'm like, they are down by 20, but there is a minute left. Who knows?
I mean, that worked in the first one for sure.
Yeah. Oh, so for my birthday, I got like one of my top tier gifts that I finally put on to my toilet. I got it was a bidet.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the only downside is so they got because like my bathroom, it doesn't have plugins for electricity. Like it's got electrical, of course. Like I don't have candles in there. It's not that old, but I don't have any spot to plug in, which is not that big of a deal to me. But when Bree's over, she always gets upset because she can't, use the straightener or anything. But so I couldn't get an electric bidet. So they make these ones called, I think it's called Tushy. You get that, and then like it just hooks into the water, and then that's it. So you just have a button that you get like a knob that you turn. But this one that they got me had also had hot water. But the problem with that is you have to run it to your sink, and my sink isn't right next to the toilet. So I'm like, yeah, I can't do that. So it had like has a little thing to shut off the hot water. So otherwise it'd just be shooting out the whole time. But dude, it's awesome. It's like only downside is like right now, since it's kind of warmer out, my my balls are hanging a little bit lower, so like that cold water hits that first thing, and you're like, ooh, wide awake.
Oh, that's funny.
But
I hear I hear they're game changers.
dude, like I mean, it's weird to compare it to this because it's when it happens to you, it's horrible. But like when you get the Poseidon's kiss whenever you're pooping,
Yeah,
like think about that, but like great.
right.
You're just like, ooh, I'm so clean now.
Unlike the Poseidon's
Yeah,
kiss.
like I had too many of those when I was a kid. For those that don't know what Poseidon's kiss is, it's when you're pooping and like the nugget drops and it splashes back up and it like lightly kisses your butthole. I had to explain that to my parents today. I was telling them about the bidet. But yeah, it's highly recommend. 10 out of 10. If anyone here is listening that wants to start a bidet cast with me, I'm game. We'll just have to do it
Well,
both from our toilets.
you'd have to. Um, Speaking of needing to use a toilet later, I got a grill. I put that together today.
Nice.
Grilled grilled some steaks for Din Din. So ate two of those motherfuckers. I'm sure I'll be and because you know how much I love them. Had some Brussels sprouts with them,
Ooh.
little mashed potatoes and gravy. It was good.
I like that you're like, hey honey, I'm making some steaks tonight. And you're like, oh wow, there's two of them. Yeah, both for me, the man of the house.
Aldi does three to a pack.
Oh, okay. See, I never get the three packs. I get the like when I get steaks from there, it's usually the filet mignon medallions that are two packs.
Those aren't too bad. I'll get those every now and then, but honestly, I just kind of get like what's available, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think your Aldi probably gets picked over a bit more than mine. Though mine, the one I go to now, since it's closer, I don't like as much as the one that's in Mount Zion or in the Mount Zion area. That one is a lot nicer, but this one's closer, and this one gets picked over a good
Yeah.
bit. Like it depends on what time I go.
I've been to the Mount Zion one. Like we used to go there when I was a kid, and I remember that one being nice back then. So,
Yeah, the I used like whenever I was in Shelbyville, I'd go to the Effingham one.
oh, okay.
They didn't have booze, but I'm like, I don't care. I don't drink.
Yeah, the well, the one that I go to now always have has had it, but they just did um the renovation like 3 weeks ago. Um, so like learning the new layout has been interesting, but
Yeah.
the booze was at the end before. Now it's right at the beginning, which I thought was odd.
Well, it's like let's get them liquored up so they buy more stuff.
But yeah, who knows?
Oh, at my this is a funny oldie story. At the one in Decatur that I go to now, it's like this like they finally got it all fixed, but this person, it was I think it was an older lady. It made the news, so if you want to Google it, that she just fucking ran right into the wall. And like there was it wasn't a hole, but it was enough that it like the brick all the brick was just punched in, and so they had like this big plastic wrap just over that area for the longest time, and they had that stuff that would have been there in a different spot just like kind of in the way,
That would be such a pain in the ass, man.
right?
It's like, come on.
I think she just didn't know it was in drive and she just fucking laid on the gas. She's like,
I I think once you hit like 60, you need a yearly fucking re-up on that test. Seriously, dude. Like so many news stories down here or anywhere where it's an old person that's just fucking killed somebody.
yeah.
It's like, come on, we gotta make a change here.
But the problem is you can't run on that type of thing because they're the ones that vote.
I
And they're also
know.
the ones that are up for election.
Yeah. I know they probably put that lady that drove through Aldi straight into Congress.
Yeah, she's actually our representative right now.
And
She's like, I'm
probably
old. I don't want to be here. I just want to die.
and she's the youngest member.
Yeah.
All right, let's do the episode.
Okie dokie.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Two Worlds Podcast. I'm Jake, and with me, as always, is the ice to my water. It's Casey. What's up, buddy?
Not much, man. What's up with you?
Not much.
So, since you weren't here last week, and I know you read it though, because like me, you just hate being happy. Um, what did you think of Hush 2 last week's?
I will be honest, I have not read it yet.
Oh man, I've been like anticipating talking to you about it because it sucked.
Yeah, no, I believe you. I'll have it read so that we can talk about it. But with the move and everything, I've been a
Yeah,
little
fair
bit
enough.
busy and didn't get around to it. So, but yeah, I after listening to last week, I was like, oh, I'm sure it's a doozy.
Like I would say it's not as bad as that other one, but it's still pretty stupid.
Yeah, it'd be tough to beat that
Yeah.
previous one. All right, we do have one YouTube comment. It's from Gerbla Nick. He says, I'm afraid I don't know enough comic book sequels to weigh in, but when you said the worst sequels ever, the first thing that came to mind was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4. that is amongst the worst movies I've ever seen. No disrespect to Matthew McConaughey. He was doing his best, but there was no saving that shit fest. So there you go.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Texas Chainsaw movies, but that one sounds like a doozy.
Yeah, as you know, I don't watch horror movies, so I haven't seen any of them, but I'm sure at least the first one is probably pretty spooky.
So like I'll say this because I've watched the first one a couple times with Brie because she likes that stuff, and I think you'd be fine because I think it was made for with like a $20 budget. And
And
so like, it's
that went to the chainsaw.
well, it's like no, I think they just found that line around. I think that went to the weed for one of the guys like because they actually got like an actual celebrity to do like a voiceover for part of the movie, and it's like came out years later that oh, it's this guy, and they paid him in weed. Like that, like kind of recently it came out. Like everyone knew that the guy did it, but then like he's like, yeah, they paid me in weed to do it.
That's crazy. But hey, he agreed to it,
Yeah.
so must
I
have been
think
fine with it.
so if I remember right, and I could be wrong, so I'm not gonna say, but I think it's the dude. You remember in Chuck, the ladies' man that taught Chuck how to
Yeah,
score with the chicks? I think
yeah.
it's him.
Okay.
So it's like, it kind of checks out.
Yeah, it definitely does. All right. Well, moving on to the news, we've got not a ton, but a couple of interesting things to talk about. You just want to do yours?
Yeah. So I didn't even know that Marvel had like Marvel Comics had Topps cards. Do you sell them at the shop at all?
No, but it's like Brian Atkins gets to do stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
He'll
Oh
get
yeah, I remember that now.
he'll get blank cards. One was they have different like series names. They've done like Marvel Flair and some other things. And he's done several sets of those. Um, and I know this is a little bit of a tangent, but they've asked him to do a run for DC, which I'm really excited for because uh, a lot of the cards that Brian draws, uh, he's just like, hey, who should I draw on this? But now that it's
Yeah.
DC, it's like, ooh, I get to make
Yeah.
Brian draw a whole bunch of cool DC characters that he probably hasn't drawn before. So anyway, that's how he got them probably.
That's pretty awesome. But well, Frank Miller is doing a one for one sketch cards. Like it's a bunch of different ones, but it's gonna be just the one specific one of him, and it's gonna be for the Marvel Comics Chrome card series. So, I mean, if you like Frank Miller, that's probably pretty cool. So, I like my one thing with this type of stuff, and it's like kind of like a small complaint, is like there's some grown ass men doing some really annoying stuff with like the cards now that I'm just like it's hard to get too excited or to be too happy for any of this stuff, you know?
Yeah, I think the thing with those cards is that you can pretty much sell them for whatever you want to. Um, and I think, Frank is super fucking old and he's still doing like the cons and
Hmm.
the private signings through CGC and stuff. So I think he kind of needs the money. So I think that yeah, and I don't want to sound like a dick, like do what you got to do if that's the case. But I just feel like why else would he be doing this? It just seems odd. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it also could be like a giving back type of thing because it's like I don't think Stan Lee needed the money when he was doing all the shit that he was doing. But I mean, also he was kind of forced to, it sounds like. But, I think with Frank Miller, he might just be, like I said, giving back and he knows his comics that a lot of the times his comics aren't selling. So it's like, well, this is
Yeah,
my way of doing stuff.
yeah, that's true. But I mean, I genuinely hope that he gets like some good money off of those cards.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
sure that he will.
I hope so too. I'd be curious if it makes people want to start collecting him too, since I know he does have a pretty rabid fan base.
Yeah, he definitely does. I mean, I had people that wanted his because they did like a Frank Miller month not that long ago over at
Hmm.
Marvel. And I personally didn't think they were very great covers, but his style's not really for me. So if you're into that, I'm sure that was like an exciting time, and it'd be the same way with these cards. So
Yeah. Dude, you know who would have been like absolutely crushed it with these? And like, I'll be honest, it's kind of like Frank Miller doing it. It'd be like, why are you doing this? Darwin Cook. That would have been awesome.
yeah, for sure. I think, well, I don't know. I mean, tons of artists could do it now, and I'd be half tempted to buy some of them, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But if I had to guess, I bet those Frank ones go anywhere from like, I bet 400 plus, like just on up from there.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you gotta pull one, man, and you gotta then get it graded and do all that.
yeah, I buy enough Pokemon cards that I definitely don't need to do that.
Do a oh, that's something we could just do for the podcast. We'll do on Sundays, like the one dude that we both watch with the Diglett thumbs. Every Sunday we'll just open up a pack, but we'll both open up a pack of the Marvel comics to try to get the Frank Miller one.
Right? I think that'd be funny. We'd get singles of viewers.
Yeah. I mean, already are.
Unlike the Diglett Thumb guy that's got a million subscribers, which is so crazy. Moving right along. So we got some beef, some grade A fur to beef going on between Matt Hollingsworth, who's a colorist, and Mark Millar. Um, so I guess is it Chrononauts? I think it's Chrononauts, um, which is a book that Millar did through Dark Horse that is getting picked up by Netflix for a show. And oh, let's see here. Dark Horse, did a post like, hey, pick up Chrononauts, buy, and listed all the creators. And Matt Hollingsworth did a post afterwards, and he said, I don't want to be associated with this comic and won't receive money if you buy it. So please boycott. When asked for more details, he said, nothing special, garbage writing, just Millar writing IP that he can sell later, and he refused to pay me royalties. Sean Murphy, who is the artist, stepped up and paid me extra out of his money to make up for the lack of royalties. Um, and being loyal to Sean, I colored it. He said, I get royalties on almost anything that I work on, including from big publishers, but I will never work with Millar again. Only did this out of loyalty for my friend Sean, who I was working with at the time. Mark Millar doesn't consider colorists worth paying royalties to, or didn't when I colored this. So there you go. Pretty fucking shitty.
Yeah. I mean, it's just that's the kind of just the vibe that you get from every story you ever hear about Mark Millar.
Yeah, totally.
So,
I
like
mean, Grant hates him, so it's like, dude, if you got Grant Morrison to hate you, you must be a real piece of shit.
especially like with Grant, because I think they were buddies at first, and then Mark, I guess, pulled some shitty stuff with them, and then it like that's how I remember hearing it. So it's just like, well, kind of says the type of person you are, I guess, but whatever.
Yeah, and to not pay your colorist loyalties is just insane anyways. A colorist can absolutely make a book. We bring it up
Hmm.
so many times.
Yeah, and something else too that doesn't get enough credit is inkers. Like I never really got into how good like a good inker can do, but like Jimmy Palmiotti, he used to do inks and he'll post every once in a while on the like he's like, yeah, this is the pencils that I got, and it's like, and then I had to ink it to make it look like the
Hmm.
actual thing, and it's just like, dude, how did you do that? Because
Yeah.
that's, insane.
Yep. Totally agree. I mean, there's a reason that every part of the comic has a specific person for it, even down to
Hmm.
lettering, which also makes a difference. You whatever. We
It's
we
like
don't need to get into it, but everyone does their job and makes that book come to life,
it's like, oh, I don't know, we could just put Comic Sans in there.
right? And it can take up the entire panel, no big deal.
That was one of the things that book by Brian K. Vaughan did, The Escapist, that it did really well as it showed how important each part of the comic making progress, process is and
Yeah,
everything.
man, I haven't thought about that book in a long time.
It's
You
so
made me
fu
read it back in the day.
Yeah, it's so funny with that book because it's a really good book, but I guess it's based off of a Pulitzer, or not based, but it's like the character, the escapist, is the comic book character in The Cavalier and Clay, which I've still not read, but I have sitting on my bookshelf because Liz gave it to me. And it's just like, yeah, it's like that book is supposed to be amazing too. And it's like,
Hmm.
I'm like, oh, I'll read that someday.
Did Brian K. Vaughan do that one?
No, it was that he just got made to do the comic tie-in.
Gotcha. All right. This was on my news for last week, but so everyone's definitely heard this by now. Um, but the first wave of the new Marvel and DC crossover comics have been announced, and we are getting a Batman and Deadpool crossover that's coming out this September. So they're Batman, Jesus Christ. Okay. DC is doing Batman Deadpool, and then Marvel is doing Deadpool Batman because you know how it's like two issue little
Hmm.
stories. So um Grant Morrison, Greg Capullo, Dan Mora, and Zeb Wells are going to be the creators on those. So, pretty much an all-star lineup as far as my opinion goes. And they said that they'll be announcing more, um, later on. But while I'm still kind of burnt out on Deadpool. However, like, let's be real. I think we're gonna read, at least between the two of us, we're gonna read pretty much anything that the crossovers do, just because we like that kind of thing, and it's been 30 years since the last one.
I'm just really curious how Grant's gonna write Deadpool. Like, I'm sure it's gonna be good, but I'm like, I mean, you put Grant on a book now anyway. I'm gonna more than likely check it out, but I'm also like, wonder if this is gonna be good or if it's gonna be like when Hickman tried to write them.
Right. Well, I personally like Grant more than Hickman, so I'm a
Hmm.
little more excited, but we'll see how it goes.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I do think he'll do better than Hickman, but at the same time, I'm like, I could also see him just pulling something out of their ass that you're like, when was this? Like, oh, it was in this one appearance that was in Secret Defenders from 1998. And you're like, oh, okay. Never
Yep.
read that one. It's like, yeah, not very many people have.
Nobody has. Yeah, I agree. But pretty exciting stuff. Dan Mora and Greg Capullo on the art, it's gonna look
Awesome.
fucking crazy. So, um, all right. Now, my last two bits of news go together. Warner Brothers Discovery is set to split and go their separate ways in 2026. I feel like they haven't been joined together for that long.
No, it's kind of weird that they're doing this. Like, are the companies actually splitting, or is it kind of like? Because I mean, I thought Warner Brothers bought them.
So it's it's split. They're dividing stuff. So they're doing a streaming and studios, and they're doing global networks. So streaming and studios will be Warner Brothers Television, Warner Brothers Motion Picture Group, DC Studios, HBO, and HBO Max. as well as WB Games, Tours, Retail, and Experiences. And that's going to be led by David Zaslav, who's the president and CEO of WB Discovery. And then Global Networks is going to be entertainment, sports and news, TV brands like CNN, TNT Sports, um, Discovery, and Discovery Plus streaming service, even though the other one's called Streaming and Studios. And that's going to be headed by Gunnar Weidenfels, who is the CFO of WB Discovery. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe it was just too much for one guy, and so they're splitting stuff up for two guys.
Yeah. I
But
like to think like
mhm,
when you log into Max, they'll be like, just so you know, this isn't your fault. Like
right,
like we both love you and your money very much, but we just can't love it together right now.
right. So then to piggyback off of that, Warner Brothers executives promise a 10-year plan for DC with new strategies specifically for Superman and Supergirl. So that's probably not a good thing
No.
because Superman and Supergirl don't really need new strategies. They're fine. You just got to give them the good writers.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. I think a 10-year plan anyway, especially with when it comes to that type of stuff is so stupid because like I mean, hell, James Gunn when he announced everything, he didn't even have a 10-year plan, but he had a plan for like the movies that he was going to have come out. And that's already changed because no one wanted an authority movie. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yep.
the authority's been pushed back now and then they're moving forward with Clayface, which I still don't get, but it's like you can't really like you really shouldn't try to set shit in stone. Like you're not Marvel. Don't just be like, yeah, we're gonna be doing more Superman. We're gonna be doing if you know if this does well, we're gonna be doing more Supergirl if this does well. And we're gonna have Batman sooner or later, we promise. You know?
Hmm.
Like just keep it like that. It just yeah.
But I also feel like executives that don't really know how any of that shit works. They want to know stuff. Like we
Hmm.
gotta have a plan. Like what's coming out next? He's like, here, we're this and this and this, even though they
Yeah.
don't know if that's actually gonna pan out. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but hopefully it doesn't fuck everything up for DC, who I
Oh,
feel is in a good spot right now.
that does remind me though, speaking of things that weren't planned, James Gunn kind of hinted at on Twitter that we might be seeing, like, we're going to be seeing more of crypto, not just in Supergirl, but like in his own things. We might be getting another like animated crypto movie or something of that nature. Probably, I might guess would be something for Max because
Yeah,
I think they learned from the last time that the a crypto movie starring The Rock's not going to make a whole bunch of money.
yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's a good idea. Give us like a little animated short, like a
Hmm.
holiday special or something. Like people like that stuff.
You know what they should do? And we've said it before, but like getting the actors and stuff, this would probably be a tough thing. But just do like, remember in New 52 when they had DC Presents? I think that was a comic book, way
Yep.
back in the day. Fucking do a DC Presents show and then be like, oh yeah, the Elongated Man and Sue Dibney one did really well. We'll make some, actually make more of that. But then like the Vandal Savage one, surprise, surprise, didn't do well. So we might keep him as a villain in something else, but we won't, go forward with that. Just
Yeah.
go that route.
I I remember having, I think it was Black Lightning and Blue Devil.
Yeah, that was a weird one that they
Yeah,
combined those two.
it was, but I remember liking it a lot at the time. So
Yeah, I remember they did Dead Man to start, and that one was fun. And then they did after a while, I know they did a Vandal Savage. That's why I brought that one up. And it was by James Robinson. And I read the first issue. I'm like, sorry, James, this is pretty dumb.
oh man. All right. By the way, when's his question coming out? or his Starman, I mean. We need
Oh
we
yeah.
heard about that and then got nothing,
Yeah, it doesn't help that he's not on Twitter anymore.
right? And hasn't been for like 10 years. Guy
I
just
know.
disappeared. But yeah, that's it for the news.
Let us know how you feel about this. Are you pretty upset about the Discovery DC divorce? Are you guys like,
Like
don't
first
blame
it was
yourselves?
Trump and Elon, and now it's WB Discovery.
It's like guys, it's gonna be okay. Me and Jake aren't going anywhere.
Damn right.
But if we do, I just want you to know it's your fault. But what did you read this week, bud?
I read Birds of Prey, The Moon is Following Us, JSA, Doctor Strange of Asgard, X-Men, and Daredevil.
Dude, I can't believe I missed The Moon is Following Us. I'm pretty upset about that.
You did? It's the last issue.
Yeah, I don't know how I missed that.
Well, damn.
Yeah. I read Farmhand, issue 22, X-Men, issue 17, Red Hulk, issue 5, Hellverine, issue 7, Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong 2. Golly, that's a terrible title. Issue 1, Godzilla Heist, issue 4, Daredevil 22, and JSA issue 8. I have a feeling, just gonna go out on a limb, odds are we're gonna have the same pick of the week this week.
All right. Well, I can briefly talk about The Moon is Following Us then. I think it wraps up too quickly. Like there's a nice ending to it, and I get what they were doing. It just happens too fast. It could have been another issue. It could have gone 11. Um, so yeah, I mean, I liked it. I'm still giving it an 8, and the series as a whole probably an 8. But I really thought that I was going to be giving this a 10,
Mhm.
and I was just a little bit let down.
Damn. All right, so Farmhand issue 22 by Rob Guillory. And so yeah, they're the preacher dude, John, he's taken the new main character now that the brother's dead and to find the little Russian kid. I forget the names because, this book hasn't been out in Lord knows how long. And but yeah, it's really good. It's like, oh yeah. Like as I'm reading this, like last issue I didn't really have this feeling, but this time I'm like now reading it, I'm like, oh yeah, this book is really, really, really good. I missed it. But I will say, I didn't notice this the first time, but as I was flipping through it, talking about it, um, that's like a health textbook vagina, like
Yep.
vagina stuff.
Stuff.
Some of
Someone didn't
that,
pay attention.
some of that, their vagina stuff that they have, that them
Giner.
females be having. But yeah, no, I loved it. I'm gonna probably go 9.5.
Okay.
It's a good time. It's a little bit worth the wait, I'll say.
All right. Doctor Strange of Asgard, number 4. This is by Derek Landy, and I know the last name's Magno. Carlos Magno. Uh, but yeah, anyway, it's pretty good. The murder mystery kind of ramps up because now Thor and Sif know that something weird's going on, and they find out that Loki's mind has been tampered with, so they go inside of his mind, find out he's been branded by whoever fucked with him, and uh, it kind of ends on a cliffhanger that I won't spoil for those who are reading it, but it was really good. I think the art is just really solid on this book. It fits it so well, and I hope that it's not like a 5 and done. I hope that it keeps going past 5.
Right on. All right, so Red Hulk by Benjamin Percy and Jeff Shaw. And I just want to first talk about this cover. Because like I don't know about you, but it really gives me like you remember when Mike Mignola used to do those covers, very much similar pose
Yep.
with like that's what it gives me the vibe of. Like the only difference is like the Hulk doesn't look like a Mike Mignola Hulk. Like that's the only thing, you know?
Right.
But it does give me that vibes. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. Red Hulk is just tearing up Doom bots, just awesome shit. And Machine Man and Deathlock are being cool dudes too. Like it's just this book is pretty darn tootin' cool. And yeah, I'm like excited for the next issue. Benjamin Percy really knows how to like just do dumb fun books, you know? So this one it's probably gonna be another nine. It's gonna be a nine for me. Like I didn't expect to like Red Hulk as much as I did. I was like, I'll give it a shot. But now I'm like, it's a good.
I hope it stays that way, man. I hope it
I
doesn't
mean,
peter out.
as long as like Jeff Loeb doesn't take over from Percy, I think it's gonna stay at least pretty solid.
Oh my gosh. A Red Hulk 2 by Jeff Loeb. Be
It's
so
just Red
bad.
Hulk just like fucking wrecking everybody. It's like the one above all others. He's like, nah, I'm above you. It's like, why? 'Cause I said so.
All right. Birds of Prey 22. I wanted to share my variant cover by uh Ryan or Rian Gonzalez, but it's like a paper doll,
Oh,
Barta paper
cool.
doll, which I thought was pretty neat.
You gotta cut it out and
No, I'm
oh,
not gonna do
you could
that.
photocopy it.
I could photocopy it.
So one time, this is I know I'm going really off subject, so I'm gonna, share. We had in Finley, there's this book called Frederico the Flying Squirrel. And it was this picture book, and like in it at the very back page, it's like it had a thing to make your own flying squirrel. Like you would cut it out from the book. And it's in the school library, so they wouldn't let me do that, but mom and dad photocopied it for me, and then I gotta cut out and make my own flying squirrel.
That's wholesome.
Yeah, it probably didn't last a day, but
Yeah, I imagine not. I'm sure Big Van Vader probably ripped him in half or something.
well, it was a flying squirrel. He's not gonna fight Vader. He has to earn that title shot. Come on.
All right, this is by Kelly Thompson and Sammy Basri on the art. It's pretty good. So, like at the end of the last issue, Barda disappears. So, they're all out looking for her, and it turns out she kind of got covered in basically a Venom symbiote. I just don't know what it actually is. It just kind of looks and plays like that a little bit. Uh, so they're just dealing with that, and they're upset because they lost one of their own to whatever this is. So tensions are high. They're not happy with each other. And, you know, I imagine they're just going to have to, the power of friendship will prevail and then Barda will be okay. But we'll see what happens on the way there. It was pretty solid, though. I liked it. I'm going to give it a 7.
Nice. Helverine issue 7 by Benjamin Percy and Raphael Iannecco on the art. This is like the third issue with Hell Hulk on the cover. And guess what happens in this one? They still don't fight.
Cool.
They do get the Hell Hulk's head though. They get some nice head in this issue.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, so then that's like the big reveal. Maybe next issue they'll fight because the demon guy's like, I made Hell Hulk and I want to wake him up. And that's how it ends. So, like this fight better be worth it for all this build up. Like, it's like a lot of the Hell Hulk blue balls right now. Like we're like, oh, they're gonna fight this issue. No, they're not.
Yeah.
So it'd be hilarious if the next issue doesn't even have Hell Hulk on the cover. It's just like, I don't
What if he
know.
just never shows up?
Yeah, it's like, well, this is all just a backup story for the little demon guy. He'll be like, ah, I made Hell Hulk, and that's the whole thing. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm probably at a 6 for it. It's a fine book, but we don't need all that build up for Hell Hulk. I mean, it's a fucking character named Hell Hulk. How much build up do we really fucking need?
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I've got our three Mewtwo's left.
Okay. So Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong 2 is next for me. Trying to find the all the people that are involved. It's it's quite the book. I'll just say that. Brian Buccellato, Christian Duce, and Luis Guerrero. Christian, the when he does the stuff like the monsters, because like okay, so um Killer Shark is in this, and he becomes a kaiju for a little bit. And like the way they draw Godzilla and Killer Shark looks great to me. Like that's awesome. But then like the people, they just don't like what's going on with Flash. Look, like his head is tiny and his body's huge, And so yeah, like in this one, Flash is getting married, and all the Justice League is just watching. Not all of them, but like the ones that are superheroes that like that wouldn't make sense for them to be at Barry Allen's wedding, are all just watching from like the Justice League area, like their little thing. It's like there's crimes going on. You don't need to be watching your friend's wedding that you weren't invited to. And like some of them wore suits. It's like, guys, that's silly. Just stop it.
That's extremely weird.
Yeah, like here. You get Batman, Ollie, and Cyborg in a suit, and like Donna's dressed nice, but then Dick Grayson didn't
Why?
because they want to, I guess. And then Dick Grayson's dressed normal, Hawk Girl's normal. Like I love the thought of like Cyborg and it being like, no, I'm gonna go to the wedding. Don't worry. They won't be able to tell it's me. I'm in a suit. Ugh. But yeah, it's like I said, Killer Shark as a kaiju fighting Godzilla, pretty cool. Godzilla wrecks him, and yeah, someone gets shot at the end, so that's kind of neat. It's whatever. It's kind of what you expect.
Well, what I
Um,
expect is dog shit like the first series, so.
I wouldn't say the first series was dog shit because dog shit's like Hush 2. This is way better than that. Um, so yeah, this will be like a 6. It's like it passes, I guess. The Godzilla looks cool and Kong looks cool.
I don't want you to do it to like spite me, but I'll be shocked if an issue gets higher than six.
I don't know. I mean, so this is like my theory on it. If like this sequel one's gonna have more fan service than the first one. So if there's like a really fucking cool fan servicey issue, it could.
Hmm.
That's the only way it's gonna work though. They have to do something like crazy, crazy fun.
Well, then I'll revise by saying it won't get higher than a six based on story because I don't
Yeah,
think Buccellado's that great personally.
yeah. I I mean, like it might be okay story-wise, but I don't think his the way he writes like his people is very good. And that's why he has to do stuff out of continuity.
Yeah, no, I'd totally agree with that.
So next up is Godzilla Heist by Van Jensen and Kelsey Ramsey. I chose to read the Point Break cover version. Fucking gave me the giggles. Um, So yeah, it's good. Like I like this story so much more than I expected to. It's actually a little bit different than Kaiju, the Kaiju Heist or whatever it was called. Um, yeah, it's
What was
good.
that called?
Something. It was Kaiju something. But we got one more, I think one more issue of this, I'm assuming. Like this is like a fun I wish like the IDW, like we got that first look at those other books. Any of it was half as good as this because it really wasn't. But I'm like, I still got hopes. What I don't have hopes for though is Godzilla versus Boston. Jake, don't buy it for the shop. It's gonna be shit.
I The thing is after you were like, I don't want any more of those, I was like, oh man, I don't even remember if I already have them on order, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because like one came up for I don't even remember what it was, and I was like, nope, not doing it.
Well, like, okay, so this one I will say it's got Steve Orlando. Like he's the hot name in this one, which I'm not gonna say it's like it's he's fine,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't pay
He's the
eight
one that I
bucks.
expect to write Godzilla versus Boston, though.
Yeah. I wouldn't pay $8 for it though.
True, true.
Especially not for like 5 pages too of Steve Orlando, and the rest is like really just weird shit that I'm like, why is Godzilla talking in a Boston accent? Why is he wearing a Larry Bird jersey now? Why are you
Uh,
telling me how to get home from a Boston Celtics game while Godzilla destroys the city? Like, so stupid. But no, this is good. Recommend it to people if they're like, I like Godzilla. Give me something fun. This is a fun book. I'm gonna go 8 out of 10.
cool.
And then I got our three Mewtwo's. What order you want to do them in?
You tell me.
X-Men, Daredevil, JSA?
Sure.
All right.
I want to share my variant cover for X-Men. It's by a person called Puppeteer.
Nice.
It's so good.
Yeah.
For those not watching, it's magic, and she's hot.
If you didn't see that one coming, I don't know what to tell you. You must not have never listened to this podcast.
Nah, I thought this was pretty good though. I think the monster versus Magneto Sentinel is super fun. Uh I kind of like when Scott gets to swing his metaphorical dick around and tell people what's up. He gets to do that in this one.
Yeah.
Uh I think it's solid. Oh, there's that really cool scene with Juggernaut, crushing that guy through the earth. I thought that was pretty
Yeah.
cool. So, yeah, it was just a fun issue. Had a good time with it.
Yeah. Fun fighting and stuff. I still think it's dumb that this X-Men team had this much trouble against a bunch of noobs that just
Well,
got their power.
yeah, but I think this issue was way less of that than the last issue.
Yeah.
This issue was okay, we're done messing around. Let's put him down.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I keep seeing this is off subject, but the advertisements for the Black Panther book that people are throwing a fit about because the new Black Panther is Ryan Gosling, is what
Mm,
people keep saying. It's like, don't you know it's by Priest, right? Like he's doing this for a reason. Like he's not one of, he's not Steve Orlando. It's just doing it for clicks. Like he's Christopher Priest. Just trust him.
yeah.
But no,
That man, I was talking about that the other day actually because that came out this week with uh Imperial also came out, which
mhm.
was big, and there was like the Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion event started too. I was like, damn, Marvel's just throwing three heavy hitters this week.
Yeah, I should have picked up Imperial.
I'm sure I've still got copies.
Yeah.
I actually did read it. I didn't put it in the pile. Um, it was fine. It was a lot of buildup, but the Hulk stuff in it was really fucking cool.
Yeah.
And he's like on a team with She-Hulk and whatever Amadeus's Hulk is called. I forget the name. Um, and She-Hulk's got this giant like gut sword, which is cool. And then we get some Nova in there too. So I was like, all right, I think I'm interested enough to at least check out the next
Yeah,
issue.
because I saw Nova was on the cover, but I'm also like, I know it was going to be like Hulkling heavy, and I'm like, I don't know shit about Hulkling other than he's, I think, now married to Wiccan. Like,
Yep.
that's all I know about him. I think he's a scroll, and so I think it's gonna, be heavy in the scroll stuff. And I'm like, boy, howdy, do I not care about the scrolls?
Yeah. I mean, I think the scrolls are cool, but the parts that they were in was just sort of setting the scene, the political turmoil, which I know you're not super big into, but it wasn't like a massive chunk of the book.
I mean, it's one thing whenever it's like leading up to something like this versus like an Aquaman or Black Panther 2 where they're like, the people don't want to be taxed this much and blah blah. It's like guys, I can listen to this on CNN. I don't need to be listening to this in a fucking fake comic book. Come on.
Yeah, yeah, I get that.
But no, I think this book is, fun and fine. It's the X book that I'm still reading, even though I don't like the characters as much as the other one, but I'm probably at like a 8 for it.
I think I'm at a 9. I like it a little
Right
bit
on.
more than you.
Okay, and then Daredevil issue 22 by Saladin Ahmed with Jose Luis Suarez and Carlos Nieto on the art. For the most part, I really
That
liked
cover's
this.
so fucking bad, though.
Yeah, the cover is pretty rough. And what's really funny too, just while we're on the subject, so spoiler alert, he beats the Mushroom Man in this issue. The next cover, he's fighting the Mushroom Man again.
I know, dude. I thought that was so funny.
So yeah, this issue, he, like I said, beats the Mushroom Man, but he fights him in this one. He can't, really beat him. His girlfriend comes in and, tells him basically what to do, like how to beat him and stuff. And it was cool. I liked who the twist of who it was, but like one of the things that annoyed me is they're like, he's like, he wouldn't kill me. And then it's like, oh yeah, he would kill me. And it's like, no, he wouldn't. He's been so sad that he killed fucking Bullseye. Now you're like,
Yeah, but he doesn't need to know that.
yeah. But yeah, the only downside to this book for me is like the way this guy's written. It's like, it's very
Dude.
much written like Steve Buscemi in, oh, which movie is that? It's like, hello, yes, fellow kids. Like that.
Yep.
Like that's how he is written.
Yep. That really, really bugged the hell out of me. And I get that it's just to make us hate this guy, but I was like, man, I don't like reading this.
Yeah, no, it's so dumb.
I did really like this is a small thing at the end, but Daredevil goes to that hardware store to talk to the guys. It's like, sorry, I broke in. I stole this thing to beat the bad guy, and like, dude, you saved our customers. They were our neighbors, our friends. We're glad you did it. I thought that was pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
I think it'd be really funny if they're like, but 29.99.
Yeah. Come on, we got bills to pay,
Yeah,
Daredevil.
it's like we're a small business, bud. Like you get it. But no, this is not a 9 for me. I really like it. I love what Salah Ahmed's doing with Daredevil. It's pretty cool.
Yep, agreed. It'd be a 10 if it weren't for the annoying ass dialogue
A hundred
and
percent.
the John Romita Jr. cover.
It's like which I know we disagree on this, but there's some of those John Romita Jr. covers where I'm like, yeah, this is fine. This is, it's like it's pretty good.
Yeah, we
And like
definitely disagree on that.
I could get like if you read like when he was on Daredevil and stuff, and like then you see his shit now, you're like, yeah, I get, the member berries for it and stuff.
Yeah.
But for us that didn't read when he was, like, and we might have gone back a little bit, but we weren't like in the shit like that reading it. It does nothing for me.
hmm Yep. It's just, boy, we went from Marco Cicchetto to this.
Yeah.
All right. Our final book is JSA number 8. It's by Jeff Lemire and Gavin Guidry. But
And
what'd you think, man?
I loved it, but speaking of covers,
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
so cool.
The
It's
the
by
Michael
Michael
Cho.
Cho.
It's like I want the interiors to look like this. I mean, that's
Same.
obviously he's got a similar style to Darwin, but it works so well for JSA.
Yep. But no, dude, I loved it. Like I was a little like I'll say, just because like we had some really cool characters, like seeing Sergeant Rock and then the Unknown Soldier.
hmm
Like I would have loved to have seen more of them in this book, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So like this is my favorite issue of JSA so far. And like we even get the Blackhawks. Like, come on. How cool
Yeah.
is that? The only thing that like I kinda didn't love was like, and this is like kind of the problem with having Dr. Fate on a team. It's the same thing with like having Superman on a team with a bunch of street levelers. It's just like he shows up, it's like, hey, I won.
Yeah. Wotan's like, ah, shit.
Yeah. It's just like, okay, I guess that's it. We'll leave.
Yeah. It's like that now, but back in the day, I know I've said this before, the motherfucker refused to use magic. He was just like, I'm gonna sock him one. It's like,
Yeah.
no, use magic.
Right?
But Anyway, yeah, it's fun. The art's good. We get some eldritch horrors. It's just
Yeah.
a well-rounded book. Looking
Yeah.
forward to the next one for sure. I feel like the book has really caught its stride, and now I hope that it gets to keep going.
Yeah. Like, and this is like honestly just a filler issue, but it's so much fun and so awesome
Yeah,
that I'm really not too upset about it.
same. Where was the Oh yeah, there's one part before Dr. Fate shows up where it's just Wildcat and Our Man, and Wildcat's like, I think you better pop an extra Miraclo or two, Our Man. And I thought that was pretty
Yeah.
funny.
One line of dialogue that doesn't make sense to me, so maybe you can explain it. So Hawkman's got the staff, and he says, "I'll put this somewhere safe." And Wildcat goes, "I don't think your museum is exactly a stronghold, Carter." And he's like, "No, but my secret museum is." And then Jay goes up to Wildcat, and he goes, "You okay, champ? Look like you seen a Hawkman." It's like, no shit, he's right there.
Yeah, I have no fucking clue.
Okay. I'm assuming it must be something an editor might have missed on or something, but I was like, I wanted to check with you.
Or that's just such a like deep-seated joke that I
Yeah.
I just don't get it. But yeah, anyway, what do you give it, man?
It's a 10. It's my pick of the week.
Yep. Same. You were correct.
Yeah, I was like, as I was reading this, I'm like, okay, I already know this is gonna be Jake's favorite, but it is mine too. What are you excited about though this coming week, man?
I am excited for probably DC versus vampires, magic, and we'll go old Batman and Robin.
Yeah, I'll say Batman Dark Patterns. I kind of forget that that's like a good one that I want to read because like I'll see Batman, I'm like, oh, this is another fucking Batman book, and I always scroll past. I'm like, oh wait, no, no, I like this one.
Yeah.
Uh,
Or I'm like, he didn't tell me he wanted this, but I know
yeah,
that he does.
yeah. Um, and then I'll say this is like kind of like a lighter week for me, even though there's a lot of crap out. Um, Runaways and TMNT. I am interested, and I hate Fairyland 41, but at the same time, I'm like, you could have just ended it last issue. It was like a perfect ending. It would have been great, and now it's kind of like restarting. I'm like, I don't know if I have it in me to stick with this again, guys.
hmm But damn, dude, you're 41 issues into an image book, you know? It's like,
Yeah.
when do you call it quits?
I mean, at 40 would have been good, I think. But okay, so Fantastic Four time. I didn't write one down, but we already talked about what it was going to be. It was going to be the East, like, not the Easter eggs, but like the end of like the MCU movies, or even like the post. This is the post credit scenes that we were like, these ones are cool.
Oh, I forgot about this.
Yeah. So you know, we can do four cool post credit scenes if you want, and four, like,
Go
if
down the
you want.
list.
So the coolest one, and we both will agree, is Thor's hammer at the end of Iron Man 2. I'm pretty sure.
That is a good one.
Like it was so awesome. So it had me so hyped with that movie. And then one that I'm trying to think, there's oh, what was another really good one? The the Hulk one I already mentioned was terrible when you watch that one because it's like Robert Downey Jr. just talks to Thunderbolt and it's like, oh, this has no connection to anything. Okay. Um, oh, the the end of the I think it was the first Avengers.
That was on my list with
Yeah.
Thanos.
Yeah, it's so rad. And then they were like, he doesn't want to court death. He just wants to make everything equal, 50-50. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's stupid. No, it's not. It's really cool. It's like, why are you yelling about it? I just am. I'm trying to think, I don't think there was any cool ones in Civil War. Captain America had a pretty cool one, the first
Will
Captain
you stop
America.
fucking taking my whole list?
I mean, in all fairness, we're probably gonna have the same list because it's like
Yeah.
cool is just cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough to beat Yuri being like, yo, I'm putting together a team. Like
Yeah,
everybody like makes fun of that or just talks about that still. So,
yeah.
um,
Did Winter Soldier have a cool one?
trying to think of what it would even have been at this point.
Yeah, I mean, might have been something building up for the just for the Avengers movies
Oh,
too.
yes, it did. And this can make my list because why not? It was seeing Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver for the first time,
Okay,
and they're going
okay.
crazy in their cells.
Yeah, I gotcha. And then Guardians. I'm trying to think. Did Guardians? Oh, Guardians 3 had a really stupid one because it's like it's one of those ones that never pays off because it's like Star-Lord is just eating cereal on Earth, spoiler alert, and it's like Star-Lord will return.
Yeah.
Then later on, Chris Pratt's like, not if James Gunn's not directing it. Um, I'm trying to think of the first one. I don't remember what the first one has. It's after credits scene.
Ooh, I'll tell you one that got me hyped that's also going nowhere. Um, the end of Eternals when Dane Whitman goes for the
Oh
sword and you hear
yeah.
Blade's voice, and then we don't get either of those things
Yep.
now.
And then this one's fun was did you ever see Shang-Chi?
Yeah, I did.
The end credits scene there was pretty fun because it was
I don't remember it.
so like he's on a call with the event like with Hulk, Smart Hulk and Captain Marvel, and he says something about wanting to be on the Avengers, and then she's like, "Oh yeah, you could," and then she just clicks out, and then
Oh, yeah, yeah,
yeah, then
yeah.
then Hulk's like, "Yeah, she does that to me all the time," that type of thing. Like, oh, that's kind of
Right.
funny.
Another one for me is the end of Multiverse of Madness, where we get, Strange with his third eye and Clea teaming
Yeah,
up. That's probably
probably never
not,
see
yeah,
Clea again.
probably not, but man, she looked awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Ooh, I just remembered some news that I saw on Twitter, so it might not be true. So, but while we're thinking stuff up, we're getting a Thor 5, and Taika Waititi is not directing it.
Yeah, and I don't think it's gonna be a fucking joke this time
Yeah.
either. Which it's like them trying to be serious is also not good most of the time, but at least for me, it's gotta be a step up from the last two we got.
Well, it's like I'll say this, it's like you can have it be funny, but I think it works better when and I actually liked Ragnarok, it's but it's also like you have to like have Thor be the straight man. Like, the fish out of water type thing. Like they kind of did it too much when he like smashes the mug on the ground. Like, damn well if he did that around Odin, Odin would have smacked him and be like, "Oh, son of mine does
Right.
this shit." But like, he
That
should have
even that
manners.
was still well done, I think. Like
Yeah, I
that
mean,
was the worst of it, you know what I mean?
well, okay, the worst of it in that movie was when he transformed and then Natalie Portman goes, "Oh my God." Like that's even worse than meow meow.
I don't know that it is, man. I don't know.
But yeah, so like, it might be good, but you just got like I said, you gotta have him be like the silly fish out of water. If you want him to be the silly person, you don't just make him just a big old goofball that's playing Xbox.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
That's all we got.
let us know some of your favorites, guys, down below, and let us know, your opinions on the Thor franchise. Do we need a fifth one? I mean, I think Chris Hemsworth is down. Like he's one of the few actors that are in the MCU that actually goes like, no, 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 I like this. This made my career.
Yeah, I
We're-
want to keep having fun and
yeah,
making billions of dollars.
It's like there's so many of these other guys like, well, these aren't really films. I just do this to pay, like he's like, no, no, no. This is awesome. I love this. I don't know why people like why these other guys are shitting on it.
Yeah, he's one of the good ones.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, let
All
us know
right.
down, like I said, let us know down below. Watch. Oh, I got some new. I actually were, finally got them edited. The last of my unboxing, so you can watch those. Um, I don't know. Tell us about the Discovery, Warner Brothers divorce if you guys are sad about that or you care or you like, oh man, I can't watch Chip and Joanne Gaines from that Renovator show on HBO Max anymore. I'm so upset. Just let us know.
Yeah, all right, guys. Well, we'd love to stay in chat, but Casey has to cool me down and make me even tastier. So we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Two Worlds Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at Two Worlds Pod, on Twitter at two_worlds_PC, and on Facebook at facebook.com/twoworldspodcast. You can email us with any questions or comments at twoworldspodcast@gmail.com, and if you would, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Two Worlds Podcast on YouTube.